Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode of SpongeBob Now. Today, I will be talking about Have You Seen This Snail? Let's get started, shall we? SpongeBob is bringing Snail food to his house. When he reaches home, he gets a package containing the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy paddle ball set. Also in it is the Dirty Bubble Challenge, requiring him to do 29,998,559,671,349 hits in a row with the paddle ball. He gets so carried away with the game that he forgets to feed Gary and gets angry with him for distracting him from his game when he wants food. SpongeBob ignores Gary, saying that he wants to be left alone. Out of hunger and desperation, Gary tries to get him to feed any possible way, but this only annoys SpongeBob even more. With this, SpongeBob neglectfully yells at him to leave him alone. Heartbroken and hungry, Gary abandons SpongeBob and leaves the town. Later, Patrick comes to see SpongeBob, but it turns out he is still trying to complete the Dirty Bubble Challenge. Patrick then reveals that he won the challenge but lost the trophy. SpongeBob realizes that he has not fed Gary yet. After finishing with food, SpongeBob calls for Gary, only to find out that Gary is gone, as he had been doing the challenge for a week, maybe even 10 days. The two try to find him, and after a while they find a note from Gary stating that he ran away. SpongeBob becomes horrified and remorseful for himself, then he goes on a desperate hunt. Meanwhile, Gary is going through a town far away from Bikini Bottom, and gets picked up by an old lady who mistakes him for another snail. At the same time, SpongeBob tries to look for his snail all over town, but cannot find him, much to his despair. At the Krusty Krab, SpongeBob is sad that he cannot find Gary until Mr. Krabs unintentionally motivates him to leave and work harder to get Gary back, rather than convincing him that doing the hard work he normally enjoys doing at the Krusty Krab will solve whatever problem he has like he intended. SpongeBob and Patrick start to search for him all over town. Patrick ends up going in a store to look for scented pine cones and he sees Gary. However, he is too distracted by the scented pine cones that the old lady greedily took only for herself, so he never tells SpongeBob about seeing Gary. Afterwards, SpongeBob and Patrick start putting up posters and messages all over town in hopes of finding Gary, and this event is followed by a song set to a montage of SpongeBob and Patrick unsuccessfully finding the snail, even missing him at certain points where they are actually in the same place Gary and Grandma are. Also, a heartbroken and disappointed version of SpongeBob is shown at night in his pineapple home, sadly missing his beloved pet snail. Gary constantly gets overfed by the old woman, and at some point he sees the papers from SpongeBob telling him that he is sorry and to come back briefly before he comes across a closet full of empty broken snail shells which then fall on him. While looking at these shells in horror and seeing that the grandma is overfeeding him, he realizes that she is trying to fatten him up to eat him. The snails in the portrait on Grandma's wall then yell, "Run!" So Gary pulls himself out of their shells, causing him to roll across the floor, up Grandma's plate of cookies, and into the air. Grandma then throws the cookies to Gary, but he only looks at them with dreary eyes before rolling outside through the snail door while the cookies get stuck in the door, similar to axes. Grandma then pulls out a plate of deviled eggs too and chases after Gary, telling him to come back while still trying to get him to eat, saying that her foods were a labor love. He makes his way into an alley and hides behind a trash can where one of the gangster snails he met earlier approaches him. Just before Grandma can search the alley for him, Gary pushes the gangster snail in front of her and she mistakes him for Miss Tough C, so she takes him instead, much to Gary's relief. Then he leaves and goes to find SpongeBob. Meanwhile, Patrick comforts a crying SpongeBob, who decides to give up. Eventually, he goes outside and laments the fact that he neglected Gary, who finds SpongeBob desperately wanting him back. Gary finally reunites with SpongeBob much to his joy and promises things are going to much better between the two of them, then takes Gary home to get him something to eat, telling him he must be starving. Gary, however, only replies with a deep denial, "Meow," stating that he is overfilled. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos. Goodbye everyone.